Hello, and welcome to Jarviskjir Narashiro Nights. That's the
What
What did you do?
How you doing tonight, folks? Ladies and germs.
1 to 10, like 7. I feel is a
That's
fair
good. That's
Like
I
above
go
average.
for above 5, and 5 is just okay sometimes. You know, I settle for average.
Like I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at today.
I think
How are you
it's unreasonable to assume I'm ever gonna have an 8 or higher. You know, that's just life.
I'm a person of extreme, so it's like a 9 or like a 3.
As long as you didn't go for I
Yeah,
need
man.
it to be a 10 at all times, because my stance is that 10s barely exist.
So as long as you're not a reviewer at IGN, fucking
I get
shots
so
fired.
mad, and I've had this conversation so often on stream that it's like, oh, it's 7 out of 10, which means it's bad. What the fuck?
I completely
What is
agree.
this
I
shit?
hate that stuff.
Aaron, are your extremes only when you are awake and asleep? So you're a 3 when you're awake and a 9 when you're asleep?
No, that would
Are
be
you
awfully
sure?
sad.
It would be pretty bad.
Why, when it comes to
Checking.
movie stuff, is it not okay for a movie to just be all right?
Yeah,
Like if I go to a movie and I leave and I'm like, that was fine.
I watched a 5 out of 10 movie the other day,
I think that's fine.
and I was like,
Yeah.
I was reasonably entertained. I checked my phone occasionally. I'll never watch it again. 5 out of 10. It was
Yeah.
Rush, by the way.
Honestly, that was my opinion at Endgame. I thought it was just fine. Like this was an okay
finally
movie.
watched it recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
We're still not in the statute of limitations for spoilers, so.
2-3 days ago.
I just said I thought it was fine.
Two
There-
or
there
3
was-
days ago, I finally watched it, and I have avoided spoilers up until this point. Like, literally, I knew nothing about the movie going
Which
in.
is impressive, but also William
Yeah.
is like, lives in the real
you-
world, so.
Hot take before we start, and I guess this isn't really a hot take, this is me asking if any of you have a hot take. How do you feel about Cats, the Broadway play that is being made into a film now?
I think it looks great, actually. I'm
I
down.
think it looks great.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good solid 6 out of 10.
That was
Like,
like the first Broadway
Cats
musical I ever
always
saw.
was a little disturbing to me, so this just is the same.
Yeah.
Well, I
It
think
should
it's
be
good.
weird. Get weird with it, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Be
So
weird.
here's my like dream, which I don't think will happen, but I really want both Cats and the new Sonic movie to be in the theater at the same time, so I can
Yes.
get double
Yes.
feature.
I love that so many people are like, oh, it's furry agenda, it's furry agenda, and furry's like, we don't want anything to do with this shit. This is not us. We don't want any of it.
Yeah, they're not furries,
Makes
they're
me so
fucking
fun.
animorphs.
Yeah!
Yeah.
They are. Ugh. They're like when I tried to draw like a tabaxi when I was like 12.
I think if you watch Cats before you watch Sonic, Sonic will not be as horrific as you
Yeah.
think into it.
Honestly, here's a hot take. I think Sonic looks fine. I saw the trailer. I'm like, I'm gonna watch the shit out of this. Perfect music choice.
That
Perfect
is a hot
casting.
take.
I am.
I have no
Music
problem.
choice?
I think the acting,
Right.
the casting's good.
I have no
Yeah, the casting was fine.
just said, Aaron.
What?
I have no problems at all with any of the things you just said about Sonic.
I don't have a problem with it,
I'm
but I disagree on
Famously
every level.
easy to please, so I'd probably also be fine with it. But when it comes to animation, I'm a little more sketchy because I kind of know. Here's a hot take: I didn't like the animation in Into the Spider-Verse. Beautiful movie, great movie, hurt my head.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the kind of stutter frame thing they're doing, which I understand and I get it, gave me a headache.
I recently learned more with that stutter frame thing where Miles got more frames as he got better as Spider-Man.
Yes,
Which
that is
is
a very common today I learned on the internet. Anyway, today we learn about togetherness via D&D as part of our court-mandated therapy session once a week.
Still can't believe that,
Accurate.
honestly. Seems very excessive that we have to do this every week for the next rest of our lives.
Can I just say?
I don't
my
make the rules, I
stakeholders-
just enforce them.
My psychologist told me that recently she's had a massive upswing in her patients starting D&D, and I was just like, yes.
It's genuinely quite good at solving through some issues, depending on your DM and friend group.
Yes.
This group, for example.
Yes.
It's a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Anyways, so
all right.
last week
Why don't you tell us? Yeah.
We raided a strip club.
Panty raid.
We in conjunction with law enforcement.
Yes.
We fought a mimic. Rofi was almost killed.
By we fought a mimic.
Twice.
I want to point out what he means by that is Ratcat and Rofi fought a mimic while he stood outside being a grandpa to 2 guards.
Okay, so here's the question: did you want to fight a mimic and 2 guards, or did you want to just fight a mimic?
You would have just decapitated the 2 guards in an instant, and we would have been done.
Those 2 guards were like teenagers.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to kill teenagers.
Well, maybe you're in the wrong party.
They're just doing their job. Like, I would do it. I would 100% do it, but it's not my, objective. It's not my prime directive to kill teenagers.
That's your character origin.
Things are going well with the school. We tortured someone, and then they were like, hey, I don't like these guys either. So we might have found a new recruit via the recruitment method of torture, which is fun. And now we have
the system works
on drugs.
I reattached 2 hands. One very successfully and one kind of successfully.
Yeah,
the hand is reattached.
That's right.
Yep.
The
worst part is they were a dual wielder.
Something.
Yeah, they were a dual wielder.
They
That's
were.
Fine.
They were.
That's fine. They're an elf. They'll be able to train for 100 years and fix it.
Yeah.
At least not 3.5, where they had to invest 4 feet to be proficient in dual wielding.
Oh yeah,
doing that with Pathfinder. Well, they'd already met the samurai. You met Captain Kato.
Yeah.
Yes, and when you talked to Captain Kato, you kind of discussed a greater plan to. Rakas got schemes. He's got greater schemes for the house as a whole to make sure the house is always in good standing with the daimao by being useful, and used involving infiltrating the slave resistance. But that's not what we're worrying about right now. Right now, I imagine the session starts with you guys getting home.
Yeah.
After going to the strip club. With a bag of Aether Crystal.
How large is the bag, by the way?
It's not exceptionally large.
Yay big?
Probably.
Cool.
Huge for a sack of drugs.
Yeah. Comic money sack with the $ painted onto it when people are robbing a
just
bank.
says drugs.
Are we talking hobo sack big?
It says Aether Crystal on it.
Smaller than a hobo sack.
Okay. All right. Okay.
A
Especially
medium-sized sack of drugs.
Okay. All right. Well, that's gonna be bad for Yuna's health.
Oh, good.
I almost forgot that Yuna's a drug addict.
She's not technically addicted.
Drug addict.
I'm pretty sure I made the saves.
You did. You're not addicted. I'm not gonna say you would know, but I would know. So you come home. Yuna hasn't really been helping you with this kind of stuff. She's been busy. So you can update her on all the brilliant things that's been going on. Yeah, I'm not an addict. Just I see everything.
I like the idea that Rofi's mask is tilted off to the side slightly. He's just.
Yeah.
I'm actually not
You're
even
just still
with you guys.
clinging on to the ladder.
Yeah,
Rofi.
he probably is still just sitting on the ladder. Actually, yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty sure I actually just went back to the school to not arouse suspicion. So I'm not even with them.
So it's just Team Chucklenuts over there. Going back to House de Vescos.
Name.
Every partnership needs a team name, and if you're not going to give yourselves one, I'm going to give you one. My favorite one is the Monday Party, where the Tiefling and the Half-Orc are team's target of racism. That's always apt.
Yeah, that's why Voss and Yuna are team perpetuators of racism.
Yeah.
It's true.
Some of Yuna's favorite friends are non-drow. How can she be racist?
Like,
Oh, no.
Captain Souls or no?
Yeah, those are forced friends.
Yeah, forced friends. Anyway, what are you guys doing? What's your plans? What's your schemes? What are you intending?
Well, I think Rofi needs a nap.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's- And I'm doing just fine and damn. I'm full health.
You were the
like-
one being eaten by a mimic.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
I
I'm gonna
really just
put
talk
Rofi
to
to bed.
people for a bit, so I'm fine too.
I'm gonna put Rofi to bed, tuck him in, tell him a bedtime story, and then go speak with Yuna.
He's like he's asleep, hanging onto the ladder.
Yeah.
You just take the ladder off your back, put it in the basement. Somewhere
Leaning it up
comfortable.
against the wall because he's hanging
Somewhere
there
where
like
there's no light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comfortable and dark.
Yeah.
I know what Yuna's doing, really quick. And I just want to... You guys have made rock candy as children, right? Or some other crystal growing activity.
Uh-oh.
So what I am going to be doing is I will have a glass container of some sort. I will take the powdered crystal that I have. Just try to dissolve it in the water really quick. And then attach the one crystal I do have to a string, the glass container, and I'm just watching it.
In a very elf way, you're watching
In a
something
very
that
elf
will take a
way.
long time happen, but with great interest.
And I hear a knock at the door.
Come on,
Yuna.
I'm gonna skip over and open the door and take a peek out. Hi.
I've got so many drugs.
Oh, come look what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
And I will show him my jerry rig setup.
Also, sorry for waking you, Draco, if I did. I know you don't sleep, but same thing. Anyways, then closing the door. I'm gonna show Yuna the aether crystal in the bag because it's dust form, right? This stuff.
Yeah, it's dust form, but it's still this much. Kind of gives a bit of the glow when you open the bag, which is a bit
It's that
satisfying.
scene from Pulp Fiction where they open the briefcase at the diner. Yeah.
Does
Gotcha.
it contain a soul or drugs? Everything that we've asked Tarantino. How appropriate.
Yeah.
I think we can recrystallize this, given what we have. And I point to my setup, which is probably a little less jerry rigged because I do have alchemist equipment.
Yeah.
Probably slightly more legit.
It's jury rigged, but by like an elven noble who has a lot of fancy equipment.
Yeah.
It's like Tony Stark jury rigging things. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you got millions and millions.
Can I make some kind of check to see if I understand what she's doing?
I think you can basically understand it.
You made
no matter
crystals of
Yeah.
a different kind.
I did, yeah, but that was a very different process. That was melting down a
It's
very large.
pretty obvious what she's trying to do.
I'm trying to get them to centralize around a location rather than like settling at the bottom or the sides. Yeah.
You're trying to get them to coalesce.
Which is kind of what I'll explain to Brackath. Like when you made the crystals, like they kind of just kind of scattered everywhere. I'm trying to form them all together.
Do we know if they're attracted to anything?
I don't know. I'll take like a measuring cup like into the bag of other drug and put it into the solution and kind of just mix it.
It's pretty.
I wonder if we could put some kind of charge through the crystal that would bring them together.
Hmm.
It might repel them.
Mhm.
There's the potential for absolutely catastrophic explosions. But if we do it correctly and in the right kind of charge, we might be able to actually bring the crystals in together, bring it together, similar to the way that
Yeah.
certain metals attract to one another. There's also the possibility that this blows up the entire house.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna try. I don't know what's going on the map right now. The shenanigans of our party. It's gone now, DM.
I was laughing at Oli's face because he just looked so worried for a second.
I'm never worried.
I'm going to try and just put magic into the solution. Like, I'm not gonna cast like a spell. I'm just gonna manipulate the edges around me, similar to I would do for Investure, and just like, I don't know, dump a couple spell slots in there.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Oh no.
That seems good.
Huh?
Yeah, overcharge. It would be great.
Oh, is it with advantage? Never mind. Ignore this one. This is the real one.
Oh no.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna roll my portents or anything. This is more fun. It's a 7.
Can you two both give me dexterity saves, please? You coalesce a little bit of magic into your little setup solution. You've had a lot of time to sort of study the Aether Crystal in this time, and it's become quite clear to you that, the magic, the crystal contains energy of some form, some way, shape, or form, although you don't entirely understand it. What possibly could go wrong? Adding more.
I'm gonna roll those for future reference.
Might have been good to do it. I rolled a 17 on that.
I saw. I haven't set up any of my dice because I didn't think I'd need them for a little while. I'm always proven wrong.
Look, we're the shenanigans party. This shit
Yeah,
happens
right.
at all times.
Right?
So you're gonna take 14 force damage. Yuna. Rakath dodges. Manages to get out of the way, out of the door, however you do so. But when you do this, it's not instant. There's a few moments of the where you can see the crystal shards, fragments, kind of tiny dust fragments glow with the magic before there's just this big explosion, which Rakath you saw before when that crystal got dropped. It's just eruption of color that shatters many glass things, maybe some porcelain dolls, big crack up the wall that makes the building groan a little bit.
That was whoa.
Yeah. Don't
Oh,
open the
Rakath,
door.
you would still take half damage, by the way.
Yes, I assumed.
Don't open the door. Drasco knocks.
He is going to walk around just a bit after you open the door, and there's like smoke and like stuff coming down from the ceiling.
It wasn't me.
By the way, could I roll an Arcana check to like understand what happened in that reaction?
Yeah, please do.
I would roll.
I'm gonna roll a 19, so that is
Okay, never mind.
a 24 total. Just,
It
like,
seems that this Aether Crystal that you have is filled with magic. And it seems to be filled to the brim, which is very useful. Which means, hey, there's nowhere else to go, so it all erupts and explodes out. But this also comes to a bit of a conclusion, which is useful to your research, which is useful because you just blew up your research. In that you believe that the crystals inherently don't have magic to them. Kind of a law of equivalent exchange sort of thing. There is only so much arcana, so to speak, in the universe. If you created new Aether Crystal, it wouldn't have magic in it. Something must have happened, or
magic.
Yeah, or you could pour magic into it, which is commonly what quartz is used for in enchanting. So probably Aether Crystal is probably a type of quartz. Creating it wouldn't have more magic in it, but for some reason all the Aether Crystal in the sky and the caverns around has arcane magic in it, and the way it reacted, it is arcane magic, which is rare to find arcane magic in like a raw form, because it's meant to be the power of the universe, right?
That is very interesting. And I'm gonna babble that very quickly to Raka
Yeah.
while I'm going to the door.
Draco just looks unamused.
Hi.
Hello, Draco. How are you?
Are you having
I-
a good trance?
I was having the most wonderful dream where I didn't have a little sister.
Well,
I can either repair this or I can buy the floor downstairs, and I'm going to be doing the latter.
yeah, that makes sense. This is fine.
He kind of like walks a bit away and kind of looks at you through the hole in the wall.
Sure, we have boards somewhere.
And he will will close his door very firmly.
Just out of curiosity, can we
Which just
see
makes
in-
more crumble and... What was that?
Which wall is this hole in? Is it?
Oh,
the
it's
one
in the
who-
wall to the so it faces the hallway, so not into his room.
What?
Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
That's fine. That's not a problem. Put boards up. That's fine. That's the Nero, where Nero can walk through.
Put a little painting over it or something.
That's
What
the
about
way to do
poster?
it. Yeah, that's that's funny.
So it's arcane magic then.
Yes. And I'm not sure where it's getting the magic from originally. Because it has to be soaking in from somewhere, right?
Interesting.
That also leads you to think, which is a very common theory, that, you know, all of the plant matter, more or less in the Underdark, is fed by these things, the Aether crystals. So everything's fed by arcane magic, which is kind of what people believed anyway. It's why there's more magic in general in the Underdark. But
Which would make harvesting it on a mass scale for drug use very bad for everything living down here,
Oh dear.
Yes.
right?
Now, another important question. I'm going to take a small pouch and fill a very, very small pouch with the aether dust. And then I'm going to take some of the void dust that I've, the glass that I've had
Crunched.
around one of the arrows, and I'm going to mix those two together.
it looks very pretty, because the Aether crystal dust is kind of pinkish, bluish, generating light. The void dust is almost sucking away that light.
Mm.
It definitely looks strange, kind of hard to describe, but doesn't react in any way.
And then I'm going to put it into a water skin together with an empty water skin and pour just a little bit of water into that water skin to allow it to mix and see how how they separate is kind of the idea, whether they separate. And if they do, what kind of densities they have, that kind of thing.
Okay. I don't think they would really separate.
Good.
It would just kind of end up when you like pour it out into a glass liquid container and look at it. It's just kind of, it doesn't look quite as pretty in the water, weirdly enough. The water kind of dulls a little bit of the crystal light. But it doesn't seem to separate properly. That you believe if you left it, it probably would. In some way, shape, or form. It kind of keeps on swirling a little bit, right? Have you ever tried to mix something where it's just constantly unsettled?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay. Well, that's
I'm trying not
Does
to
it-
accidentally give you a perpetual motion machine.
Yeah. Well, if you want to, you want to. And
Absolutely possible in a fantasy world.
to be fair, probably mixing these two with enough quantity probably could create something like that, but getting quantity of void is fucking difficult.
Yeah. So far,
So far, so good.
There are a lot of lipid.
Yeah,
there's a William, there's a way.
Yeah, how many mind players we want to melt down in barrels?
It's only a minor genocide. That's fine.
Yeah, no. So, with that in mind, I'm actually going to use parts of my brewer's kit to actually sift out the water from that and have the dust just re-settle together, and put it back into the pouch together. And I just want to kind of keep those two things together for now. And I might
You want to keep them together?
I want to keep them together.
Okay.
I want to keep them together. I want to see what happens. And if I explode later, then we know why.
I'm gonna fix my experiment so we can go back to sitting.
A lot of the components exploded.
Yeah, but we have more.
You have time. You also have time. Yeah.
Just need another glass, like,
Yeah.
beaker.
To be fair, it's not super hard stuff to use. It's like glass and string and stuff like that.
More of the point is that now I have, like, a mixture of aether dust and water all over my floor.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Can't just hoover that up.
Prestidigitation. It explodes more.
You could prestidigitation it like around into a into a
You can
thing.
dust
and-
pan.
Yeah,
It's fine.
absolutely.
Use that prestidigitation as a broom. And
Yeah.
Don't I have Unseen Servant?
You do.
I do. I have Unseen Servant, so I don't know. It just takes care of it.
Holding the broom, doing it, cleaning.
You don't even want to bother with the prestidigitation.
Yuna's got more important science to do.
I gotta watch this thing.
So Rofi is asleep right now. He was eaten by a door. And boss is
Offensive door.
it was a mimic. It was
okay.
not a real door. Big gray blob turned into a door. Was hiding the pouch of aether dust.
Okay.
By the way, don't take this stuff. You might explode.
Oh, good to know. Just like that?
Worse.
Oh, okay.
Did you see the dungeon before we cleaned it up at all? Has Nero talked to you about it at all? There was a lot of blood.
If you saw Nero earlier today, he's quite shaken.
There were two individuals who,
Okay.
yes, to no fault of their own other than the ingestion of aether dust.
Alright, good to know. Maybe
So-
I can make some sort of device like glasses or something that gives me the effect of seeing magic without actually having to ingest it.
That would be better, yes. I don't know if you can do that because this is kind of a trip, is the whole thing that's allowing you to do the magic. But I'm interested to see if you can, because if you can, that's very exciting. And potentially, if you could do that with the aether dust, then potentially we could do that with the void.
Oh.
Potentially, there's. I think I saw this play once where this woman put these glasses over this other person's eyes, made them, do her beck and call, and she used it for her agenda to take out any people with magic within the city area. And anyways, it's a possibility.
I like the idea of Rakath going to the opera. It's been set up before, but only now have I thought about it.
I'm gonna
He
give
really
Rakath
is
a
the
hug.
Phantom.
He would have to be in the back row.
Yeah.
It'll
With
be
the glasses,
very
like.
I think that Rakath is actually like a very good singer too. Like, just because down in the he likes to hum, he likes to sing, but he's probably too shy to actually sing.
Oh.
So yeah,
You either hear screaming or you hear singing from the dungeons. No way in
Sometimes
between.
both.
most of the time.
Holy face.
Whistle while you work.
Hey!
I'm gonna give Rakath a hug for seemingly no reason.
Rakath is going to be surprised and also back at waist level.
Eh. What was that for?
I just like having you around.
Oh, he hugs you.
Alright. after a restoroni of setting things up, cleaning things up, having a little meditate, not finding a painting in... Well, Nero thinks there's a painting big enough in your mother's room, which he doesn't want to go get. So for now, there's a hole in your wall.
But actually, I had to go back to her anyway to give her the key. So I will do that when Voss comes back.
Maxim comes back. I think your mother might direct her anger towards me and possibly kill me, but it would be better than her doing that to you.
No, I can put it back. I can get the painting too, it's fine.
Okay.
Don't wait until there are people in the house.
That
Or
is
if he
reasonable.
wanders in half awake.
How are you feeling today, Rofi?
My head hurts.
Good.
There's a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
A
What?
Rofi-sized hole.
Did I do that?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Eh,
You were very out of it, but you made a very large explosion.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't apologize. It's not your fault.
He goes and starts checking his equipment to see if anything's broken.
I'll explain to Rofi what happened.
I'm sorry. It went too far.
Yeah.
You immediately realized that wasn't true. You didn't realize that it wasn't true. Now I feel very bad.
Rakath is not very subtle when he's whispering this.
That is interesting with the
I'm going to go get Boss.
That's a good idea. I could use them as a power
Tell
source.
him to pick up
Oh.
breakfast on his way over.
Ooh, I will do that. Breakfast sounds very good.
Rakath, you take a nice stroll on the way to the herbalist's street. It's a lovely street.
Yep.
Lots of flowers.
Is there
Lots of
anything
stuff.
weird going on today?
There's more unrest. Narashiro is not the kind of place to have a riot. But there's definitely, the herbalist area, despite the fact that the first time you were here was under some sort of gang control, but all the other times you were here, it's been very nice. But there's a lot of people kind of staying inside, not anyone sort of wandering the streets. People kind of just sitting very close, keeping an eye on the guards. People are a little shaken by the shakedowns that have been happening recently. Which, for Aaron, who wasn't there, they were shaking people down for Aether Crystal.
Is Voss out in the courtyard again? Or is he...
Oh yeah,
Okay, yeah.
just doing what he usually does.
So, usual greeting. Rakath won't say a word. He'll just kneel down in front of you and mimic your pose.
Classic Rakath.
Mm-hmm. He waits for your long elvish pause.
Don't talk about my elvish paws.
Elvish hands.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this interaction has happened several times by this point, so I feel like everyone knows what to expect. but-
Yeah, you go back
Yep.
to the party, pick up
Let's
breakfast
go
on the
get
way.
breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are
yeah.
you What are
How
you looking
much-
for breakfast? How much is breakfast? You asked. That's a good.
How much is breakfast for 4 people? You know what? 5 people, because I'm gonna bring some for Drake as well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So he doesn't hate you.
And
Can't
I
hate
want
someone who
nice
gives you food. That's
Nice.
exactly what I was looking at. A meal modest is 3 silver, comfortable is 5 silver, wealthy is 8 silver.
you know what? I'm just gonna give you a clean 5 gold to get a little bit of extra food as well.
Okay.
Just
Damn.
at
Yeah,
the
we're-
wealthy level,
We're going
basically.
buck wild.
Yeah, this is a time of year where actually quite a bit of food is starting to come in. You know, the warm season and the wet season are the best for growing things. So the stuff that grows during the warm season is really starting to have a bit of a harvest right now. So you can get lots of fruit, It's almost all mushroom in the end, and nice stuff like that. I don't know if there's any favourites that you'd have other than not strawberries.
Well, I mean, like those wall fungi that I was picking on the way to the roots is definitely one of those things I'd be looking for.
Yeah, what they the not strawberries?
Yeah,
they're not strawberries. Yeah.
The not promise berries. I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
But breakfast, breakfast should be fruits. If you want to have your meat, you have it later in the day. Your curries later on, so you can. Yeah, that's all good.
Bringing like a big old basket
of back with like a couple huge takeout bags.
I like to think it's just like this huge old wicker basket type thing, and Raketh is just kind of walking like this with it.
Yes.
And another thing, Voss, I think if we really want to get a move on today, we definitely go to that enclave. That would be probably our next move.
You don't know where it is, if I remember correctly.
We know it's on the outskirts, and we know that there are towns on the outskirts that have messages, so that would be our next step to go and investigate.
We can take
Agreed.
Good. Because I don't like arguing about it, and I feel like I'm carrying a lot of fruit right now, and I feel like I might drop it if I start to argue, because I tend to talk with my hands when I argue. Anyways, let's go inside.
Let's.
All right.
We go inside.
Fruit. Lovely. You offer some to Jureko, and he kind of looks at you slightly suspiciously and says, "What's in it?"
I'm sorry, I missed what you said there.
What's in it?
These are non-strawberries. And apart from that, it's a lot of
ethnic food.
Well, those ones are. The rest of it is very much drow. Yeah.
And he's gonna like bend it down. And
I will accept this bounty.
Excellent. Enjoy.
He will close his
I'm
door.
gonna invite Jarviskjir for some tea.
He will stop closing the door like halfway and will say, "Okay, yes, breakfast and tea. It is, I suppose." Kind of makes a motion so the slaves set up the dining table because it's not always ready, and you can all sit together like a happy family.
So at some point during the meal, I'm just gonna look at Juriko and be like, "So, what's happened to your wall?"
Univara happened to that wall.
Rakath looks very uncomfortable.
And if she wants it fixed, she can pay for it herself.
Although, do you happen to have an estimate for how much that might cost?
I'm just gonna go get the painting. It's fine. Put it right there. It'll look so good.
It isn't exactly proper to have our meeting hall where all sorts of delegates from all sorts of places come in and look directly into the bedchamber of a young woman.
Put the painting there. It'll look so good.
The painting is a good temporary fix, but we should look at fixing it.
The painting is quite an exquisite piece of our grandmother. Waged a brilliant war against the dwarves, she did. Easier times. You who our enemies were.
Yes, well, these days it might be the gnomes.
The thing with gnomes is that it's easy to generalize an entire race into one faction, but with the gnomes it's not even possible to do that. Of the ones that signed a treaty for Deep, it was really a representative of them. Many of them would prefer to do nothing to do with anyone. Most Deep Gnome enclaves are probably exactly under our noses and we would never even know. They're self-sufficient and hide in plain sight. If there's one aggressive to us, it doesn't mean they all are. In fact, most of the gnomes you see walking the streets or outside in the war sprawl aren't connected to any enclave at all. True gnomes are very different. Quieter. More logical.
Have you ever heard of the Azit Enclave? By any chance?
They're one of the ones that don't hide, so yes. It's actually something that would do our house quite a lot of good if we learnt of more of the hidden enclaves. But as it is not hidden, I actually think I might have some literature about them.
That would be very helpful. We are going to be needing to investigate them for the Daimao.
He will get up and kind of look through a bookshelf and take out, it's not even really a book, it's more of like a journal that has a bit of writing about them. And a couple of the gnomish enclaves that are known. The bit about Azit talks to them as a religious group, which is a little bit strange for gnomes. It's quite useful because you actually asked Draco. All this exposition that would have been like a religious role later on is just information you have. Gnomish religion is a little bit heretical from a drow perspective because they don't believe their gods to really be gods or necessarily even real things at all. They just kind of believe believe that they're people to aspire to be like. It's sort of like these people may never have existed, but their features and traits are things to be respected. This group worship a god of war known as Civet the Shield, which means they are quite a militant group, unlike most deep gnomes who kind of hide away. It doesn't really say anything about them mining crystal or anything, just that they're a militant group and sometimes work as like they have been hired as mercenaries because they're such a militant group and they don't follow the usual deep gnome god, which is a god by the name of Rondus. Their enclave is out in the open, oversees a lake. There's no more detail than that, whereas most of the enclaves are completely hidden.
Sorry, can you repeat that last part there? It just cut out for me.
I don't know which the last part was. What was the last thing you heard?
All I heard was lake.
Yeah, the enclave sits and overlooks a lake, whereas most enclaves are hidden away. You wouldn't even know where they are. This one is like a physical fortress, sort of on a hill.
Fortress.
There's a sketch of it. It's like a fairly tall fort overlooking a lake. It doesn't say where the lake is. The other thing that this book talks about, one of the other places, which is said to be straight up an ally of Narashiro, like officially, is a place by the name of... Not that. Not that. I'll get back to you. Gokhan's Paradise. I thought it was that. I just wanted to check it. Gokhan's Paradise is a deep gnome enclave that has kind of become a slave trading hub, also a casino. So it's both forms of pleasure in one place. That place is known to be, of the gnomes that made the Treaty of the Deep, they are absolutely a part of it. They are an ally to Narashiro. If you want to know more about gnomes, the gnomes there will, they will probably know where this other enclave is and be very gracious hosts at the same time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that information, Draco. That was far more than I expected, to be honest. That helps out a lot.
That's right.
Thank you.
Rofi's just like jotting down everything in his weird note form like he does.
Draco, you were present.
Writing it down and eating.
You were present for our conversation with Commander Kato with regards to the plans for infiltration and... What are your thoughts?
Are you talking to Draco? I think it's actually quite a good thing for our house to be doing. Like I said, our great-grandmother waged a brilliant war. And the war that might be happening presently, apparently, is a war with the surface. And we can't much wage that war if the slaves are going to rebel, because if I know anything about people on the surface, it's that they really, really like the little guy. They think that everyone has a purpose and everyone was built for something greater, and that's really a mentality that cannot be given to the slaves. So, getting rid of them, or even better, making use of them, is just advantageous for everyone.
And so we shall. Well, time to go to paradise.
This should be interesting.
Yuna, how much money have you saved up before we're going to a casino?
Good question. How many days have passed, Ollie? Has it just been one day since I last played? I'm not
Since
sure
you
how
last
many
played?
days-
Ooh, probably only like 2 days. You were doing a lot of stuff.
Right. Mhm. So you guys spent 106 gold out of the 300 session, guys.
I have
I
100.
spent
I have 149 left because I just spent 5 gold on breakfast.
149. So I saved up 100 then out of the 2 days.
Okay.
So we have
249.
249. Mhm.
Good news is I can do identify
Not a
now.
lot. But
Well, it's a start.
yeah.
Would have been an easy way to fix the hole in your wall, is all I was thinking.
Yeah. That's true.
Mm,
Easier if the daimyo was more forthcoming with payment, but
Oh, we're being paid for this.
Yes.
You realise that
Of course.
large sums of gold are not just sent across the city on Beetleback.
Yes.
And then I
Let's-
have to give it to the right people so that I can buy the floor below so that you can have your squatter there doing proper work and we can get a goblin out of Univara's bedroom. We're getting paid, the money just
Yes.
goes through me.
Yes. Which is very important. And it's
Absolutely.
important that it continues to go through you. Otherwise, it could look unofficial.
Yes.
We wouldn't want Commander Kato overextending.
We will be giving you a stipend, most likely when you return from this Azet individual. So all will be well. Do not worry.
We may need small amounts of funds in order to get there and to do what we need to do. But I'll leave that discussion to you, Yuna.
And Rakath will stand up, finishing the last bit of his food, bow deeply to Draco, and pick Rofi up, who's probably still food.
Yeah, he's reading his book while he's got food in one hand. He's-
Yes. Picking Rofi up, who's going to continue doing that as I walk him down, and I'm going to walk us down to the dungeon to start gathering our things and getting ready.
Good. Anything else
We'll be
anyone wants to
fine.
do?
Sorry. I think we'll be fine as far as money goes. We have 250 gold. We have 3 potions on us. Do we create any more, Ollie, of those standard potions?
No.
I didn't
One
think
of
so.
the
Okay.
one of the things that is going to be happening while you're gone is you're going to get a real garden which produces enough stuff to make potions
Right.
properly on a regular, like a sizable amount of them as well. So
Sweet.
Also,
Yeah.
this Aether Crystal contains magic. I wonder what will happen if we use it as fertilizer. But that will be a question that we answer another time.
Yeah, like there is some learning that it's like essentially like arcane batteries. That opens up so many doors.
oh, you simplify, good sir.
Before we go anywhere,
That's very, very, very simplified, but
I'll
that's
put Aether Crystal into a location where it is both hidden in case the house gets raided, and also
Why would that happen?
just in case. I mean, we could just bring it with us, but that seems far more dangerous.
that smile.
You have a beetle box.
Yeah, a beetle box that will inevitably be searched as we leave the border of Narashiro.
Right on the underside of the beetle too, right under its soft underbelly.
Yep.
Oh no!
Could possibly
Not
go
searches.
wrong. No, I think we want to hide it.
We do have to hide our drug stash. And I did talk to Will about this. I think the best place to hide it is actually under the soil in our garden.
Ah! Your garden's gonna get moved. Your garden
Yeah,
is
that-
not a good place right now.
Oh, that's a good point. What if you had it in the
We'll hide it in Torum's body. Done.
I was gonna say the other one, the female one, in that canister thing. Put it in there. Put it inside the body, and then close it.
Yeah,
Both
do
are good
that.
ideas.
Because that way people would see magic and just think, oh, it's one of those things.
Okay, so
I
you're
don't
putting
want
it in the
the
Eve body?
thumbs to come by though and just like take our stuff, right?
Well, that door has the eye that only lets us in.
Right. I don't want the Tanumacombs to come by and take his stuff.
Ah.
Oh. I didn't hear what you said. I just heard
Yeah.
come by and take stuff.
Yeah. So
That's a good
we'll
point.
put it with Torum actually.
So
Okay.
where is Torum's body?
In my room. We're gonna move it downstairs, I guess.
Okay, set him up
And
nice
if
and
anybody
comfortable.
touches Torum, I mean,
Open up the chest plate, shove in a
go on
giant
a
crystal.
Yeah.
Nothing could go wrong.
Oh no.
So we do. I also have
cells as well, or is that too much?
What's that?
You gonna put him in one of the dungeon cells as well, or is that too much?
too much.
You sure? Because I can.
Then
lock-
it's kind of obvious that there's something going on.
Yeah. We're gonna
Okay.
put him in a nice little bed area downstairs. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, that's not suspicious. Putting the Warforged in bed.
It's weird, but it's not suspicious.
It's
Yeah, it's
suspicious
not
for-
weird when you go and see Univara's room is filled with porcelain dolls. Then you're
That's
like,
true.
oh, this makes sense now.
My only hope is they see all the magic emanating and go, oh, it's just one of them. It's mine.
I have 56 gold on me as well, so we have 305 gold. Who wants to go shopping for supplies for the adventure? Not me.
I
mean,
have 0.
Do you need any supplies?
That's the question.
Do
What
we? Yeah.
I've got rations.
How far are we traveling?
We don't know. Well, we get a location for the actual paradise.
Paradise is a couple of days away, 2-3 days away.
So
Okay.
realistically, we could probably resupply there, but just to be safe, like I've only got 5 rations left because I've been actually.
I don't know what rations are.
I bought
They're
a
5
lot,
silver
so I have-
for 1.
Yeah.
I got 20 because I bought a lot.
Okay. We actually might be fine on rations then
I
if we
don't have.
use rofies. And the other thing is like we could always scavenge. It's not ideal because I don't
Always forage.
Yeah, foraging, which would be up to Voss, I think, to do well because I'm pretty sure the rest of us are shit at that.
I'm
Not
sure you
great
do.
at it, but I can
Here's
try.
the other question. We know it's a fortress overlooking a lake, which means that there might be some climbing involved at some point for a cliffside adventure because inevitably we are horrible people who will either walk in the front door and get ourselves killed or fall off a cliff getting ourselves killed. There's really no in between. So
We can get some
What?
climbing gear if that's what you're getting at.
climbing gear was kind of what I was thinking, even just like some basics. Like I have hammer, pittons, and rope. Like I can survive,
Okay, that's fine.
but like
We'll be
I only
okay,
have
but-
13 pittons is the thing.
Because climbing gear is really expensive, I think.
Yes. it
Would
is.
I be able to
Lots of
make climbing gear with my...
You could make a
cobbled
tiny
together?
part of climbing gear. Climbing gear as a toolkit is a lot of stuff.
Okay.
You could make
uh,
a pitten at a time, which is fairly
Fair enough.
useless. Yeah.
Yep. That's fair.
Very useful if you needed just one pitten
Yes.
for something. But yeah, the amount of the amount of stuff you need for competent climbing, both in the real
That's
and
true,
fantasy
yeah.
world, is large. Or you just have a high strength mod and just fucking do it.
Do the,
Fuck the police.
the one thing of smash a hole in, put your hand in, smash a hole in, put your hand in.
That would make it harder by a lot. If someone said they wanted to do that as their technique, they're like, okay, sure. How much damage are you going to take from doing that?
Roll me a strength check at double disadvantage, please.
Double disadvantage. Anyway, you can think about what else you want to buy while we go on a little break-areno and come back in a couple of minutes.